Welcome to 2021. So for us, this morning is an interesting day. It's going to prove to be an interesting weekend. There's piggies behind me. They're doing pretty good. But if you can see it, everything is covered in a huge layer of ice. We got a major ice storm last night. So things are going to prove difficult today. We have some wind coming through. It's starting to pick up a little bit, and with everything covered in a sheet of ice, today's going to be a day of duck and cover. And tomorrow is probably going to be a day of clean up and recover. Release the ducks! Sorry, I didn't want to say quacking because that's not my thing. That's someone else's. I do say it all the time though, Morgan, so I think it's hilarious. So one thing I want to note, if you can hear me over the ducks, the duck house, as you can see, there's still a little bit where the metal was, where the metal parts are touching the plastic, but the duck house put enough heat off last night from them being in there and the residual heat of the day that it is the only thing not covered in ice. One of the joys of living in a house that was built in the late 60s, early 70s, at least the interior, gorgeous aesthetics. Some crazy wallpaper and colors, and we're slowly moving through replacing a lot of them, modernizing them a little bit, but not too much, because I like this, not that. So we're going to be cleaning the rest of the wallpaper up today and doing this as a chalkboard wall, because this is where our cook station is. So be things like grocery lists, to-do lists, stuff like that. So, fun fact, wallpaper in the kitchen sucks. 60-year-old wallpaper in the kitchen is even worse. And I'm probably exaggerating on that timeline, but 60-year-old wallpaper in a kitchen on flat paint. But we've almost got it all the rest of the way clean, so we'll be painting it soon. Kind of wanted to show you what's going on, why we're doing a lot of inside work this weekend. Even though we have a long weekend and a lot of stuff to do outside, Mother Nature is rearing her ugly head, and our ice storm has turned into snow. I'm happy to see the snow. I love snow, and I hate being in the cold season without snow. It's just weird. But this is a wet, heavy snow on top of some ice that we already got throughout the night, so it's probably going to be a lot of damage and a lot of cleanup to do over the next couple days. It is really beautiful. It really is beautiful. Ooh. Of course, noises like that I don't like. So I wanted to do this recording underneath the cedar tree because it's really neat. It's like a little cave under here, and as you can see, the snow is really piling on. Emerging from the cedars. How beautiful is that? So decided today that we were going to make some chili. It's really cold outside and chili is a great one. We got some deer. We're going to do a combination of deer and pork. Just homemade chili. And I went into my storeroom and I realized that I no longer have any cooked beans. I have got one jar left, which is just enough to do a small pot of chili for us. Also going to do today is can up some more beans. So we store our dry beans, we get them in bulk, and we store them in food-safe containers, like buckets and bigger barrels. I can up small batches, like I usually do 16 jars because that's how many fit in my canner. I use the smaller jars because there's only 2 of us, so we don't need a huge amount when we're cooking something with beans. And if I need more, I just add more. So yeah, the boys are out cutting some wood up for the fireplace, and I'm gonna get the chili started. And I figured I would share canning the beans with you guys. If you have the pressure canner, canning beans is one of the easiest things to do. It's couple steps. Basically all it takes is time. So I've got my pint jars. They're all cleaned and sterilized. I've got my rings over there, my canning equipment. I put my lids in hot water. It's just habit. You don't have to anymore with the newer jars, but I like to make sure that the seal is nice and soft before it goes on the jars. That way it just guarantees it's going to compress down and get a proper seal. I got my bucket of pinto beans, and I've got my canner over here getting ready to go. When you're pressure canning, unlike water bath canning, you don't fill the pot. Pressure canning, you just need a little bit of water in the bottom. I usually do about 1 inch to 2 inches. I put a little bit of vinegar in my water because I have hard water, and if I don't, it's going to leave like a film on the jars, and it's just not pretty to look at. Alright, so you take half a cup of dried beans into each pint jar. Just like that, just a half a cup. The reason why you do a half a cup is when you're doing the dried beans method, you're going to fill those jars the rest of the way with hot water or warm water, and then you're going to pressure can them. And beans, as you know, will swell. So when you do your measurements with a half cup of pint jars, it's going to swell up enough to fill the jar. The nice thing about doing home canned beans versus store-bought beans is that all of the nutrients that are in these beans is going to be in the broth that they cook into. You don't have to rinse them out. Like with a store-bought one, you open it up and you rinse them out. With these, you can actually put that in there in your whatever you're cooking, and it just improves the flavor. At least I think it does. So I'm going to get these all filled up and get the lids on, and then we'll go from there. So what I'm doing now is I'm filling the jars with warm water. You want to use warm or hot. Don't use cold. It'll just take too long for everything to start going in your canner. And then you're going to fill your jars up with the water right up until a 1 inch headspace, which is right at the lip of the jar. Once you got those all filled up, we'll put our rings on, which I'll show you here. So you just take one of your rings or your lid, put it on your jar and your ring, and that's it. The nice thing with doing beans is that it's just hot water and dry beans, so you don't have to worry about getting crap on your lids or on your jars, so you don't have to worry too much about wiping your jars off. If you want to, you can, you know, always do the steps that make you feel safe. I'm using a funnel, so I know that nothing is getting on my rims that I'm going to have to worry about. Okay, so I wanted to show you really quick because a lot of people don't get this. When you're putting your rings on, it's fingertip tight. Now what that means, so you screw it down, it stops. You take it with just the tips of your fingers and you give it a little twist until you get resistance. And then I like to go just a smidge past that. That is fingertip tight. Once you have all of your jars inside your canner, and I've got 2 layers, you just put your lid on, and the canner's already going. Like I said, it's already, the water's gotten hot, so you're putting it in to hot water, so you gotta be careful with that part. But this is an all-American canner. You just line up your arrows, and you just put the lid on, seal her tight with these. So I'm doing it one-handed, so with the all-Americans, you want to tighten both across at the same time, just to make sure everything stays even. And then once the lid's on, you let it boil, bring it up until it's steaming from here, and then you put your weight on. For pressure canning beans, you treat them like meat. So you get your pressure canner. For my elevation, it's going to be 10 pounds of pressure. You want to check your elevations. Then you get your pressure canner up to the 10 pounds of pressure. Once it's at the 10 pounds of pressure, then you start your timer. For beans, it's 90 minutes. Some people will say 75 minutes for pints, 90 minutes for quarts. If you're doing dried beans, it's 90 minutes regardless of the size. So you want to have your canner going until your weight is jiggling and your pressure gauge says that it's at the pressure pounds that you need. For me, it's 10. Once it's there, that's when you start your timer. So from that, they're in the pot longer than the 90 minutes, but you don't start your timer until you have reached pressure on whatever machine you're using. For those of you who've never canned before, What that means with 90 minutes, that means right now my pot is going. It'll be on the burner until there's steam coming out of the weight gasket, and that I will let it steam for 10 minutes before I put the weight on. That is going to guarantee that it's up to, all the air has gotten out and everything is good to go. Then you put your weight on. Then you wait and you watch. If you have a gauge, you watch till it gets to 10 pounds of pressure. If you have a weight, it'll jiggle. Alright, so as you can see, the jars are now full. They've swollen up and perfectly filled each jar. So I'm pulling them out of the canner, and I set them on a towel like this, and then I fold the towel over so that they don't cool down too quickly. If they cool down too quickly, that can force a seal, which isn't always a proper seal. So these jars are still very hot, and normally I don't do this, but I need one for my chili because like I said, I only had one jar left. So I'm gonna go ahead and open one. It's not sealed yet. Just came out of the pressure canner, so this one hasn't popped yet. As you can see, oh, I just did it. So I'm just gonna open it to show you that they are cooked before I put it in my chili here. So we got these nice, soft, they're very hot, but see, soft, cooked beans. Ready to use. It's hot. Just like that. It is snowing again. I think we're gonna get all of our winter weather in 1 week, which is fine by me. I don't mind. I like it. Like I said before, I don't like the cold without the snow. It's just weird. But everything is just, it's just covered. It's neat because with the ice, everything got frozen over first, so it was kind of droopy and sad looking, and then when the snow came, it stuck to the ice, so everything's this beautiful white. Looks very alien. But coming up over here, and we're gonna give everybody their dinner and tuck everyone in for the evening because it is almost sunset already. I want to bring you over and say hi to the piggies again. So here we go. Hi, big pigs. Look at the little put-ums. Hi, babies. They're doing good. They're getting to trust me a little bit. See? Come on. Kisses. Yeah. So they're liking it here. I'm loving them. They have done a number on this space. I don't know if you all remember what it looked like. But yeah, they've done... I just got dirt all over my nose. Yay, pig farming. Anyway, they have tilled this up really well, and that's what I want, because this was very, very heavy clay type soil. We did have a nice layer of compost on top, and they've worked it in. As you can see there, some big clumps of roots that they're pulling out, so they're doing their job, and I can't wait to get them out into the bigger pasture when they're a little bit bigger to get that all tilled under. And this be my flower garden. I want to get into doing cut flowers, things like dahlias and other things like that that I can sell at my farmer's market, and just pretty flowers. But one of the big things that I'm going to do is a little sunflower garden, just decorative sunflowers. I'm going to do a big field of seed sunflowers as well. We're going to try an experiment with doing fodder with the sunflowers for our animals. But a friend of ours passed away recently, and his favorite flower was the sunflower. He loved the sunflower gardens. So my tribute to him is I'm going to put sunflowers in this spot. I'm probably going to get a little bench or a placard with his name on it so I can come out here and enjoy my garden and sit under the sunflowers with Mark. And So I'm gonna sign off for today. I've got a few little things to do still around the house and around the yard. We're losing sunlight. We do that very quickly. Thanks for watching the video today. Please remember to leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of my farm. As you can hear by the noises behind me, everybody's ready for dinner. I wish you all a wonderful evening. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button if you want to follow along for more tutorials on how to do some home canning and other things that we do throughout the winter here on the homestead. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful evening.